The fear of drifting through space is something that, even far from our reality, awakens an immediate sense of discomfort. It is a strange fear, because almost no one will ever have the chance to experience something like that. Yet it grows easily in the human imagination. Just thinking about the absolute void, the lack of direction, the silence that allows no sound, is enough for the brain to start building extreme scenarios. And among these scenarios, an inevitable question appears. If someone opened their helmet in space, what would really happen? Popular culture answers with movie scenes where bodies freeze or explode instantly, creating a dramatic but unrealistic image. The truth is much more subtle and much more dangerous. To understand what would actually occur, we first need to understand the environment where this happens. A place with no air, no pressure, and where the laws that protect life on Earth simply do not exist. Space is a territory where any wrong decision has immediate consequences, though not necessarily in the way you might imagine. When we think about space, the first idea that comes to mind is that it is a freezing environment. But this perception, although common, does not describe reality. The temperature we know depends on the movement of molecules, and space practically has no molecules in sufficient quantity to define something as cold or hot. It is a vacuum so deep that our thermal concepts lose their meaning. In an environment like this, two of the three ways heat transfers, conduction and convection, stop working. Nothing touches you, nothing circulates around you. And for that reason, the body does not freeze immediately. The only possible heat exchange occurs through radiation, a slow and gradual process. A person exposed to space would maintain their internal temperature for some time, while parts illuminated by the sun could heat up drastically. The reality is paradoxical. Space is not just cold, it is chaotic. Shadowed regions reach extremely low temperatures, while illuminated areas can become intensely hot. Understanding this is essential to breaking the myth of instant freezing. To understand what really happens to the human body in space, we must let go of the image created by movies. The immediate danger does not come from the cold, but from the complete absence of pressure. Here on Earth, we live compressed by an atmosphere that acts on us all the time, supporting every basic function of the body. In space, that force disappears abruptly. And when an environment shifts from high pressure to no pressure at all, everything inside the body tries to expand at the same time. The gases dissolved in the blood begin to form microscopic bubbles. The veins experience extreme tension, and blood flow is interrupted almost instantly. It is a silent but devastating collapse. Even so, there is no explosion or instant freezing. There is only the rapid loss of the ability to remain conscious. In less than 20 seconds, vision darkens, lucidity fades, and the body shuts down. This process is so fast and so intense that hardly anyone would realize what is happening. It is nature reminding us with cruel precision that we were made to survive in only one place, the planet where we were born. The most striking story for understanding the real effects of vacuum on the human body happened in 1971, during the Soviet Soyuz 11 mission. The crew had become the first in history to live aboard a space station, Salyut 1, remaining in orbit for weeks. Everything was going according to plan until the moment of returning to Earth. Shortly after undocking, a small valve, almost insignificant in size, suffered a critical failure. In seconds, air began to escape, turning the capsule into a complete vacuum environment. There was no explosion, no visible chaos. When the capsule landed, the three cosmonauts were still seated in their positions, as if nothing had happened. But they were lifeless. The cause: total depressurization. This tragedy showed the world that the real enemy in space is not the cold or the darkness, but the absolute absence of pressure. The human body has no time to react. Circulation collapses, and the brain stops receiving oxygen almost immediately. Soyuz 11 remains a silent reminder that, in an extreme situation, human fragility can be revealed by something as simple as a valve, only a few centimeters in size. Depressurization in space acts on the human body in a way that no terrestrial experience can fully reproduce. Here on the surface, our organism functions in balance under the atmospheric pressure that keeps gases, liquids, and tissues in harmony. When that pressure disappears, the body loses this balance in a matter of seconds. The oxygen dissolved in the blood begins to escape in the form of bubbles, a process known as vacuum ebullition. These bubbles spread through the veins and arteries, blocking normal circulation and rupturing sensitive vessels, especially in the brain region. Breathing becomes impossible, not because air escapes quickly, but because there is no longer a pressure difference to move oxygen into the lungs. The body begins to swell slightly, to an uncomfortable point, but far from the exaggerated explosion images seen in movies. Even so, it is a devastating process. Consciousness is lost between 15 and 20 seconds after exposure, and the survival window is narrow. About 90 seconds before irreversible damage sets in. Depressurization is not dramatic to the eyes, but it is deadly in its speed. It is the kind of threat that exists only in an environment for which human beings were never designed. The deepest understanding of what vacuum truly does to the human body came from a rare and almost unbelievable case. In 1966, during tests of spacesuits inside a NASA vacuum chamber, engineer Jim LeBlanc suffered an accident that exposed him directly to the void. While checking the seal of a prototype, the hose responsible for maintaining internal pressure in the suit came loose. The pressure around his body dropped to nearly zero within seconds. Cameras recorded the moment LeBlanc staggered, reached for his helmet, and 14 seconds later lost consciousness. A technician managed to enter the chamber and restore the pressure 25 seconds after the incident. And that small difference between life and death saved LeBlanc. He survived, becoming the only human in history to experience vacuum directly and live to tell the story. His account is striking. He remembers only the feeling of the saliva boiling on his tongue before blacking out completely. There was no extreme pain, no dramatic collapse, only the sudden realization that something was terribly wrong. The episode confirmed what was already suspected. Loss of consciousness in a vacuum happens quickly, silently, and almost inevitably. It was a real and frightening demonstration of how the absence of pressure can bring the human body down in seconds. From these extreme events, it becomes clear that the danger in space is not found não está em fatores dramáticos como congelamento instantâneo ou explosões corporais, but in a far more discreet enemy, muito mais discreto. Absolute absoluto. Without pressure, the human body quickly loses its ability to function. Capacidade de funcionamento. Mas existe detalhe crucial que muitas vezes passa despercebido. Mesmo após a perda de consciência, o corpo ainda mantém algum nível de integridade por curto período. Durante esse intervalo, órgãos internos continuam funcionando de maneira irregular. Músculos começam a entrar em espasmo e o sangue circula de forma desordenada. Until the lack of oxygen shuts the entire system down. It is a silent silencioso, but one that becomes irreversible after just over 90 seconds. Pouco mais de minuto e meio. It is not temperature that kills, nor darkness. Não é o escuro, mas the impossibility of the organism maintaining the physical and chemical balance that sustains life. A vida. And when we understand this, we realize why spacesuits are true survival machines. São verdadeiras máquinas de sobrevivência. They do not simply isolate astronauts from the environment do ambiente, mas they recreate a small piece of Earth around the body, ao redor do corpo. They literally carry human atmosphere into the cosmos, para dentro do cosmos. Without this artificial microenvironment, space reveals its true nature, verdadeira. A place fascinating, but completely incompatible with life as we know it. Com a vida como a conhecemos.